Hi, everybody. I'm Robert Price, the founder and CEO of Bōde, and wanted to participate in this amazing group of thought leaders and captains of industry that we have in Calgary and in Alberta. There's been great insight in terms of good motivational thinking on how we deal with this emotionally, supporting each other, all the mechanics of how we should take on this coronavirus. So I won't go further into that because that's already been well documented. What I wanted to do was pivot a little bit, and if you know me at all, you'll know I'm a glasses half full kind of guy, potentially an optimist. But what I really wanted to do was focus on the question of our economic diversification and explore whether this is finally the catalyst for, at the leadership level, government leadership level, the emphasis on thinking longer term. So if you go back a little bit in time to the Peter Lougheed administration in the 70s and 80s, he certainly built this powerhouse economic engine focused on energy, and what an incredible pioneer of that sector. And we've all benefited in ways from that explosion of energy and growth in the province. But that's also, post his days, has turned into a very volatile, cyclical economic reality for us that leads to uncertainty and stress for Albertans. And in my mind, the severity of the impact has never been enough to focus on long-term diversification and sustainability against short-term political gains. That trade-off has never been acceptable from the politicians we've had in place since the Lougheed days. So I guess the question to the table is, does this triple jeopardy of falling international investment, low oil prices, and a sweeping wet blanket on the economy add up to trigger a change in diversification of our economy and the thinking of it at the political level? So in my mind, we very much have been focused on, again, this is all focused on the government, not on the industry leaders in this group, but at the government level, very much how do we support the the global consumption-based economy. And that to me is becoming an outdated concept and shorter-term thinking. And a number of things that have changed as a result of the coronavirus impact will accelerate this change away from a consumption-based economy on a global basis. For one, working from home using tools that we're all doing right now, that I'm doing real time, will lead to material reduction in car traffic and overall commuting times and the number of times that you will commute in total. And as a result, that will reduce oil and gas consumption. Business travel will fall for a similar reason, given the new comfort with these online tools and the increased expense of travel, which is inevitable, I think, as we continue through this and come out the other side. Retail and food shopping will shift more and more to e-commerce. In the last 6 years, 300% growth has happened in the e-commerce world organically pre-pandemic. So this will only accelerate that trend. And the online services and the tech support of cloud-based services will become even more ever-present, given they're safe, they're efficient, and they're convenient for Albertans and for the global user. So with those realities, how do we create the new Alberta advantage? And as a leader in my organization and within the community, I'm very excited to be part of this movement and part of a leader behind how we make sure that the government starts thinking longer term. And how do we actually do this from a philosophy standpoint? We have to be competitive national and international export economy in order to drive long-term growth. Unless Alberta is going to go from 4 million people to 40 million people in the next 5 years, we got to figure out a way to create differentiated services that are exportable, not only to other provinces, but to other countries. And if we're thinking that way, we have to think competitively in terms of how are we competing with these other industries, other leaders, other service providers in these different spaces. And I think we have one advantage, or a couple advantages that we have in Alberta. One is we have the most sunny days anywhere in Canada. If you're down in Medicine Hat, you're getting an incredible exposure to sun all year round. That gives us a great canvas for solar farms and for greenhouses. We're very low density, so establishing new operation outside of major metro centers is low cost and available. You take the Amazon example, where we were trying to attract them a couple of years ago. That's the mentality we should always have. And instead, that was this big news, this big change, this big one-time event. Why isn't that our continual mindset from a competitive standpoint? Why are we not always thinking that way? And if you say some additional things, we have this very cool climate for much of the years, providing built-in air conditioning for the likes of data centers and blockchain technology that create inherent heat and can be naturally cooled and sustainably cooled, just leveraging the environment. And then connecting all of these spaces we have the Alberta SuperNet with 15,000 kilometers of fiber connecting 429 communities across the province that gets all of these industries, all of these competitive advantages on the global gateway to adopt all the cloud technology and efficiency gains from there. So we have all this untapped capability that we're just not paying attention to from a government policy and support and embracement of this diversification effort. So I'd love to have the conversation with any of you that are interested in being part of this. I will continue to drive it from Bōde's perspective. We're headquartered here. We're from Alberta, and we plan to expand across Canada and internationally and pay our taxes here and employ our people here. And that's one of many examples that I know, but we need an even bigger approach, a bigger systemic approach to this at a government level to make it truly impactful and sustainable and set us up for the next 10, 20, 50, 100 years. So that's my soapbox for the day, but I'd love to have the conversation further with anybody that's interested. Thanks. Have a good one.